All right, let's just take kind of an overview of what we're going to do here. We're going to come in from where these pegs are located here. We're going to have to remove them first. And we're going to reuse those on the new mounting brackets. And then what we're going to do is we're going to install some mounting brackets right here using these 2 bolts to reposition the pegs up to a little more what we call chopper-esque position, kind of like the ones we used to actually bolt to our rigids back in the day. In fact, on some of these bikes, if you look real close, there is a threaded boss right there. That there are pegs that are made to fit right in there, but it's kind of close to the seat, and you got to be able to kind of position that peg out of the way, when you're not using it. So that's not the best solution. Now, to get to this thing, to get to the existing bolts, we've got to get to that big old Allen bolt, and there's one for each peg. And it's kind of hard to get an Allen wrench or even a socket in there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and loosen up the screws for the mud guard. There's 4 of them. And I'm not going to take it out. I'm just going to remove it so I can, get behind it and get to those bolts. All right, so let's go ahead and get that done. Okay, I'm going to use a swivel to get in there and break those loose. And once I got them loose, I don't want to drop them. I mean, I'm not doing this on the driveway, so I got a little rag set up to put them on. And we're going to try, if I might be able to just relocate enough with the bottom ones to get to the foot pegs. All right, so there's one side. And we'll come over and do the same on the other side. A little tighter fit over here. We'll pull that one out of the way. Okay. And yeah, I think we got enough room now to get to the Allen head bolts. There's just very little room in here to get in here. There's this Allen head bolt with a conventional driver or Allen key without being able to put a lot of force on it. So we got some room now. Let's go ahead and take the pegs off. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is take the peg itself off. Put that up a little bit. I don't want it to turn and scuff up anything, so we'll take that off. Make sure we don't lose any pieces, parts. I don't know if there's any wave washers in there or not, so we'll do that. Okay, I've got a swivel socket and a bit in place on the other side. Now we're just going to squeeze in here and hook up to that swivel socket, and then we can break it loose. Okay, then I'm going to use an Allen key through that hole just to hold that steady while I get the bolt out. Okay, now let's see if we can get the fender bolts out. If you have a bit in a socket, that's fine. If not, you can add a little leverage with a with a regular box end wrench. And the key here is going to be how much bolt do we have to support the thickness of the bracket. And better to do one side at a time so nothing shifts out of position. And then this is what we're going to use to offset the, or relocate the foot pegs a little higher up. I'm sure there are different brands out there, but you use whatever you want to use. There are two different size holes, as you can see. These two are the same. This is a little bit bigger for the foot peg. All right, we'll double check that, make sure we don't have any issues there. Just make sure we can stick that in. Okay, that goes through. That's wonderful. And then take a look at it. See if any one side looks a little different than the other, smoother, rounded, whatever. Doesn't appear to be. So we're going to go here, and then our foot peg is going to go here. Now the question is, are we going to have clearance for that that peg? We'll have to check that out before we go any further. We're going to do that by sticking the bolt in there. All right, so we're going to try. I got the bolt extended here, and we're going to hold it up in place. And sure enough, it's going to interfere with the oil tank on this side, so we can't use that bolt. Hey, no worries, we can handle it. Just so happens I got the stock mount here still on the midway, so that's got a regular bolt on it. Let's see if we can peel that off and use that. Something to break that loose with. I've been meaning to take this off anyway. All right. All right, back to the top. There we go. Now we got some clearance. I think it's going to work. So we'll go ahead and just get the peg started on it. And then we'll get the strut bolts started. Now you can get an idea of how much thread you're going to have to hold everything on with how much is sticking out on the bolt head. See, I've got a pretty decent amount here holding out, so I think we're going to be all right. Even though these are fairly fine threads, it's still easy to get them kind of cockeyed in there started. So make sure you don't cross thread it. It should go in there pretty good. Like I said, you shouldn't have to force it. So we'll hammer those down. Tighten them up good. and then double check. Don't want that anywhere near the oil tank. So once that's in good shape, we'll have to snug that up. That's the beauty of shooting these things live. And I want to get this kind of position to where it's going to be angled back when the pig is returned. Okay, like I said, make sure you have clearance there at the oil tank. You don't want to take a chance. Don't forget to put the lock washers on that big bolt. You may not have the clearance for the peg to rotate all the way down. So we'll reinstall the foot peg. We don't want to actually corrupt the tension here on the U. And there we go. So we want to, we can probably adjust the fold a little bit so it doesn't rub on the seat, like so. And then the good part about these particular foot pegs is that there's an Allen in there that I can loosen and then position the rotate the foot peg to where it's comfortable for my passenger. It's probably gonna be a little too flat. Right about there. Okay, and that's the relocation on the right side of the bike. Now let's go do the left. I'm gonna pull the peg off first. All right, now we'll go back. And if it's trying to turn, we'll just have to stick something in there to slow it down. And the hard part is just getting it broke loose. Once we have it loose, we'll pull the bit out and remove it. Now for the strut bolts. Then we get our bracket. Again, there's two holes that are right the same size, one slightly larger. Want to make sure again that we have clearance. I don't think there's going to be a problem on this side, but let's make sure. I think that's going to be all right. But you know, this is going to cause a problem though, because of the hex bolt. I'm not going to have room on the other side to install that or get anything on it. So we're going to have to kind of position this all up front. So let's go ahead and take care of that. Now on the opposite side, the flange is pointing almost to the top of this bolt hole. So we're going to have to see what we can do about doing the same thing here before we attach it to the bike. Well, I ran a little snag with that first one. Because that bolt is designed to go through the frame, which is about this foot wide, and I'm trying to putting it through a piece of sheet metal or metal bracket that's only about this thick. Yeah, I could take my lazy ass up to the hardware store and get a bolt to match the one I did on the other side, but you know, I don't feel like making the drive, to be quite honest with you. So I'm going to take the bolt and I'm going to go ahead and put it in place. Make sure I come in the right side. And the washers I'm going to use, though, I'm going to put on the other side. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to put them on the other side so that way I don't change the clearance on the oil tank side. I'm just spacing out the length of the bolt here so it doesn't stick. I don't know if you can see that, stick through too far. See, right? Stick through too far in there. Because if it does, then that peg can't move. So let's go ahead and snug that up. And remember to get it aligned. I want to finish it up something like that. So then once installed, the peg will fold back. All right, so let's do that and see what happens. Okay, I've got it fitted. I tried it once. I actually had to put in two washers for the foot peg spacing. Let's we're just going to run that through and make sure that we can move the peg. Okay, and then where we are, I think we can adjust a little bit with tension on it. So now the bracket's ready for me to put on the bike. Take the peg back off for right now and get our strut bolts started. Again, a reminder, you know, try to get them started by hand. Yeah, if there's a little corrosion on them, I mean, that's fine. Or if you're adding some Loctite to them, you know, it may be a little bit of a fight, but it shouldn't be hard to put in. A little corrosion on these threads. They're gonna feel a little harder than it should, but they're not stripping. So that's good. All right, we got that. And we'll pull out our wrench. Snug those puppies up. Right. Now we can install our foot peg. And the nut. And we're going to have to give that a little bit of a turn right about there. Then we'll snug that up. And we have to get the peg looking pretty with the rider. Slight angle. There we go. And that should do it. Well, there you go. Not too difficult a job, and it should make the rider comfort a lot better. As long as she's still spry enough to pick herself up and over, we're in good shape. It's going to be a surprise, so see how she likes them when we go for the ride this weekend. Thanks for watching.